I'd like to congregation repeat this after me. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm at the right place.
I'm at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
I'm at the right place.
I'm at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
I'm at the right place.
I'm at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
Hallelujah.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome to the Yahweh and Yahshua Speak television show. We are starting a lesson entitled Esau's Calendar. Esau's Calendar. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. We had, every year we look at the holy days and we pick out the holy days. And we do this, going to Deuteronomy 32, because Yahweh commanded his people, Shemitic Yisrael, who is us, to keep his holy days. Deuteronomy 32. And we want to start at verse 15. He commanded us to keep his holy days.
Yes.
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 15. Read.
Hallelujah.
But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked, thou art waxen fat. Thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook Elohim, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Now this Yeshurun is talking about our forefathers, Yisrael, Shemitic Yisrael. It says Yeshurun waxed fat and kicked. So Yahweh commanded his people, Shemitic Israel, to keep his holy days, but they disobeyed Yahweh and cut themselves off from him. This is what this is talking about in Deuteronomy 32.
Okay.
They waxed fat, Yahweh blessed them, and then they kicked against Yahweh. They got spoiled and took Yahweh for granted. He said, you're waxing fat, you're grown thick, you're covered with fatness. Then he turned his back on Elohim, which made him and lightly esteemed Hasur, the rock of his salvation, which is Yahshua. Verse 16.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange mighty ones. With abominations provoked they him to anger.
Verse 17.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to Elohim, to mighty ones, whom they knew not to know, mighty ones that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
Verse 18.
Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten El that formed thee.
Says of the rock that begat thee, talking about Yahshua, thou art unmindful. They didn't think about him.
Right.
Has forgotten Elohim that formed thee.
Yeah.
So that's why you see worldwide pretty much the Shemitic Israel not keeping Yahweh's holy days.
Yeah, right. Tell it like it is. So
They turn their back on Yahweh. They forgot all about Yahweh, all about his holy days.
Okay.
All right, verse 19.
And when Yahweh saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
Verse 20.
And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very poor generation, children in whom is no faith.
Said when Yahweh saw what the Shemitic Israel did, he hated them.
Yeah.
He abhorred them. Says because of provoking of his sons and his daughters, of them not doing what he said.
Right.
And he said, I'm going to hide my face from them. I'll see what their end shall be. I'm just going to leave them alone. They think they don't need me. They think they don't have to do what I'm telling them to keep my holy days.
Right.
He said, I'm going to hide my face from them and see what their end's going to be. Let's go to Romans the 11th chapter. So they disobeyed Yahweh and they cut themselves off from him. They did it to themselves.
Put us in the bind.
Romans 11. And we want to start at verse 7. Romans 11 and verse verse 7.
What then Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Verse 8.
Accordingly as it is written,
Yeah.
Elohim hath given them the spirit of slumber,
Yeah.
eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day.
Yeah.
Disobeyed Yahweh, they
Yeah.
cut themselves off. It says, all right, what happened then after they did that? Wouldn't keep his holy days after they were commanded to keep his holy days and weekly Shabbat. It says, Yisrael, Shemitic Israel as a whole has not obtained
Right.
that which they're seeking for, but the election.
Hey.
There's a few Yahweh's going to show us
Yes.
that has obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Yeah.
According as it is written, Elohim hath given them the ruach of slumber. They're asleep to who they are.
Yes.
Eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear unto this Yom.
Look around.
So they're walking around spiritually blind, spiritually
Yeah.
dead to
Yeah.
who they are. Let's go to 2 Kings, the
Hallelujah.
21st chapter. So their disobedience, 2 Kings 21, caused them to be alienated and estranged
Yeah.
from Yahweh.
Yeah.
2 Kings 21.
Hallelujah.
Didn't want to do what he said,
Yep.
so they became aliens
Said until
to
this
Yahweh.
day.
That's right, 2 Kings 21. And we want to start at verse 12.
Hallelujah.
Therefore thus saith Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle.
Verse 13.
And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria, and the plummet of the house of
Ahab.
Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as a man weeps a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down.
So you know how if your mother or whatever, or you go and you're done eating, and you got some scraps on your plate, you go to the garbage can and wipe it off. Yahweh said that's what he did to Jerusalem. He said, I'm going to leave them alone, see what they're in to be. He said, therefore thus Amar Yahweh Elohim of Israel, behold, I am bringing such ra upon Jerusalem and Yehudah. He's not bringing it, he just took his arms of protection from around it. He said, hey, you don't need me. You think you don't have to obey me? He said that whosoever, he said, they're going to be so messed up, whosoever shall hear what's going on with these people, both his ears, not one of them, but both of them shall tingle. He said, I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria and the plummet of Habayat of Ahab, and will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. He let Israel be turned inside out. Verse 14.
And I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance, and deliver them unto the hand of thy enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies.
Verse 15.
Because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day.
So he said, I'm going to forsake the remnant of my inheritance and deliver them into the hand of their enemies. They shall become a prey and a spoil to their enemies, because they did that which was raw in my sight, and provoked me to anger, since I Yom that their Abba came forth out of Mizraim, even unto this Yom. All right, let's go to Isaiah, the 18th chapter. So Israel forsaking Yahweh, not doing what Yahweh commanded, caused Yahweh to allow them to be scraped, scattered, peeled, meted down, and trodden down. Isaiah 18. Over the four corners of the earth. He just wiped and let people just scour the earth with him. Isaiah 18, verse 1.
Hallelujah.
Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ibryi.
Verse 2.
That sendeth ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters, saying, Go, ye swift messengers, to a nation scattered and peeled, to a people terrible from the beginnings hitherto, a nation melted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled.
This is talking about Shemitic Yisrael. It said, hey, send ambassadors to the sea, even the vessels of bulrushes upon Hamayim Amar. Go ye swift messengers to a go we scattered and peeled, just like you peel a potato.
Right.
You peel an onion and you start to crying. That's what happened to Shemitic Yisrael, just crying, crocodile tears. To a am terrible from their bereshit hitherto. Why? When they were following Yahweh, they were terrible. When they were following Yahweh, they were upstanding. When they were following Yahweh, they had something going on with them.
Yep.
But it said they were terrible from their beginning, but now they're meted out, trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled. All those people that came over there claiming it's their land. Skip down to verse 7.
Hallelujah.
In that time shall the present be bought unto Yahweh of hosts of a people scattered and peeled, and from a people terrible from their beginnings hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden upon foot, whose land the river has spoiled, to the place of the name of Yahweh of hosts, the Mount Zion.
Hallelujah.
And he mentions it again.
Hallelujah.
In that time shall the present be brought unto Yahweh SABBATH of Am scattered and peeled. He said, I'm going to scatter you to the four corners of the earth. That's where we are right now. And people terrible from their beginning when they were with Yahweh, but now they're meted out, trodden down underfoot. Everybody's walking on top of them, whose land the rivers have spoiled, to a place of the Shem of Yahweh Sabaoth, the Mount Zion. Let's go to Isaiah, the 1st chapter. So except for Yahweh's mercy, Shemitic Israel's enemies would have killed them from off the face of the earth. But for Yahweh, they would have blotted them out from the face of the earth. And they did Yahweh terribly wrong, but for his mercy,
Hallelujah.
he's going to let us know he saved a small part of it. Isaiah 1, verse 9.
Hallelujah.
Except Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah.
All right. He said, except Yahweh Sabaoth had left unto us a very small remnant.
Okay.
Israel was a bunch of people, but it's a small remnant now, and they still getting picked off. We should have been as Sodom, and we should have been as Gomorrah. There was none of them left.
Right.
Yahweh sent a fireball out of the sky and just burnt them up. The English words, a very small remnant, are two Hebrew words found at Blue Letter Bible number 4592 and 8300. Meat, that's M-E-A-T, and Sarid, that's S-A-R-I-Y-D. Meat Sarid, a very small remnant. Jusinius Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon defines a very small remnant as a scraping fewness, a little, very few of us. Scarcely a survivor escaped from a great slaughter, left alive and remaining. This is what happened to the nation after they turned their back. Scarcely a survivor escaped from this great slaughter, left alive and remaining. So Shemitic Israel lost track of Yahweh's holy days and stopped keeping them. But Yahweh commanded them to keep them. They went from one calendar to another, following every nation who held them in bondage.
Just like today.
Yahweh's sacred calendar did not name any days of the week and only a few months. So I have this, let's go to 2 Timothy 2. I have this printout from the web. So Yahweh's sacred calendar did not name any days of the week and only a few months. 2 Timothy 2. And this says Hebrew day and month names And this is from Yahshua, www.Yahshua.net staff. And I will, when I flash it on line on the TV show, I will have the correct website and everything. Hebrew day and month names. It says this article discusses the names, or rather the lack thereof in most cases, of the weekdays and the months. So he's talking about according to what Yahweh put in the calendar.
Right.
Hebrew weekdays, except for the Sabbath day, the individual days of the week have no names, just numbers.
Hallelujah.
So Yahweh had day 1,
Right.
day 2, day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he called the 7 the Shabbat.
Right.
Now he's got the Roman names. And they put Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we understand that. All right, now he says Babylonian versus biblical calendars. This table is divided into 2 sections because of the changes made in the calendar as a result of the Babylonian exile. So again, our forefathers went into captivity when they came out of Babylon. Now the calendar's a little different, and now they're adding some things to Yahweh's calendar. It says after the Yadim were exiled from Yehuda to Babylonia in 586 BC, they adopted Babylonian names for the months of the year. Now he's got here, Yahweh gave us a few, but the others have been put in here after the Babylonian captivity. All right, the first month is Abib. After the Babylonian captivity, they called it Nisan. All right, the second month is Ziv, Z-I-V. After the Babylonian captivity, they called it Iyar. The third month of the biblical calendar has no name, but after the Babylonian captivity, they called it Sivan, S-I-V-A-N. The fourth month has no name, but after the Babylonian captivity, they called it Tammuz. The fifth month has no name. After Babylon, they called it Av, A-V. The sixth month has no name. After Babylon, they called it Elul, E-L-U-L. The seventh month is Ethanim. After Babylon, they called it Tishri. The eighth month is Bul, B-U-L. After Babylon, they called it Keshvan, K-H-E-S-H-V-A-N. The ninth month no name was given. After Babylon, they called it Kislev. The 10th month, no name was given. After Babylon, they called it Tebet, T-E-B-E-T. The 11th month, no name was given. After Babylon, they called it Shebat, S-H-E-B-A-T. The 12th month has no name. After Babylon, they called it Adar. All right, and then he says additional months were added during leap years about every third year. Now this is not Yahweh's calendar, he's talking about the Babylonians. And after they followed Babylon. It says there are 7 leap years in a 19-year cycle. And when we were looking at the calendar for next year, this year in doing our calendar, we noticed they had 2 12 months. So we're going to look at that and just see this is what it's talking about. There are 7 leap years in a 19-year cycle. So every now and then on Esau's calendar, because that's what the lesson is, that's what you're going to see. All right, so then he goes into scripture to let you know the biblical months, the month of Abib and Ziv, and he gives you the scriptures, the month of Bul and Ethanim, and then he gives you the references to the Babylonian months. Now I have another handout here, and we're going to read 2 Timothy 2:15 in just a moment. It says, the names of the days of the week says, see also Greek and Roman mythology and Norse mythology.
Y'all right, tell like it is.
In Latin, Sunday, which came over into English, they called it Dies Solis, D-I-E-S-S-O-L-I-S. Old English was Sonnendag. Then they got Dies Lunae, which is Monendag, Dies Martis, or Tiwasdag, dies Mercury, which is Wootenisdag, dies Jovis, Thunrisdag, dies Veneris, Frigendag, dies Saturnae, Saturnisdag. Says the 7-day week originated in ancient Mesopotamia and became part of the Roman calendar. Now, ancient Mesopotamia is talking about the Hebrews.
Okay.
All right, what Yahweh did. It became part of the Roman calendar in AD 321. The names of the days are based on the 7 celestial bodies: the sun, the moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. Most of Western Europe adopted the Roman nomenclature. The Germanic languages substituted Germanic equivalents for the names of 4 of the Roman gods. Tiw, T-I-W, the god of war. So this is what, when we're saying Monday, Tuesday, this is what it originated.
Right. Tell it like it is.
Replaced Mars. Woden, W-O-D-E-N, the god of wisdom, replaced Mercury. Thor, the god of thunder, replaced Jupiter. And Frigg, the goddess of love, replaced Venus. All right, let's read 2 Timothy 2:15.
Hallelujah.
Study to shew thyself approved unto Elohim, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
All right, so this is what Yahweh has us doing now. It says, study to show yourself approved unto Yahweh or Elohim, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly, Yamein, dividing Hadabar of Emmett.
Yep.
So this is what we have to do. You have to study Yahweh's word, and Yahweh has to tell you exactly what's going on as far as what's been changed and what has not been changed about the calendar. Let's go to Genesis, the 7th chapter. So Shemitic Israel came out of spiritual death to hear and see people saying and doing all kinds of things about calendars and Yahweh's holy days. They saw people going over to the land of Israel to look at the barley harvest every year. I have an article on the barley harvest. And so there are some people that say, okay, in order to know what time the holy days start, you have to go over to Israel and look at the barley harvest and see if the barley is right. So I've got this article here. It says, the calendar, equinox or barley. And they say the beginning of months, Exodus the 12th chapter verses 1 to 2, which we know Yahweh said, okay, this shall be the beginning of months for you.
Right.
And that month is Abib. All right. So now here, these people, this is yrm.org. They say all of Yahweh's 7 annual feasts or Moedim appointments revolve around the harvest cycle of cereal grains and other produce. This is clear with the Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread, which occur at the barley harvest. But now, that is true and is not true. All of Yahweh's annual feasts revolve around Yahshua.
Right.
They all point to Yahshua.
Hallelujah.
They're not just natural events. And they show Yahweh's plan of salvation.
Yes.
So it's deeper than just around the barley harvest.
Right. Y'all right, tell it like it is.
So it says, even the first month of the sacred year is named Abib, which in Hebrew means tender green ears. Now I went to the Blue Letter Bible, so I could look and look that up, and that's at number 24, Abib. He says it means tender green ears, and it's Hebrew number 24, A-B-I-Y-B, and it means fresh young barley ears, barley, month of ear forming, of greening of crop, of growing green, Abib, month of Exodus and Passover, March or April. It's from an unused root meaning to be tender, green, for example, a young ear of grain, hence the name of the month, Abib, or Nisan, green ears of corn, and it says not maize. So we understand, it says something about the Passover. Well, who's our
Right.
Passover? Yahshua is our Passover.
answer.
All right? But they say, okay, the state of the crops, especially the barley and flax grain, is the only criterion that Yahweh gives for establishing the timing of the first month of the year.
Huh.
That's not true.
All right.
And once Yahweh set up his feast days, we're going to find out Yahweh has an exact number of months in a year.
Right.
Every month has the exact same amount of days.
That's right.
So why do you have to run over to look at the barley harvest every
I know,
year?
right?
Once you have it for 1 year, you have it.
Praise.
All you have to do is write it down on paper. It says the state of the crops, especially the barley and flax grain, is the only criterion that Yahweh gives for establishing the timing of the first month of the year. That's not true.
All right.
Once you get it 1 year, you have it. You don't have to go over there and look and see what the barley
It's
harvest is
written.
doing. Nothing in the Bible explains how to establish the first month of the year in any other fashion than the developing green ears of barley grain. Well, Yahweh gave us his Ruach HaKodesh.
Right.
And he showed us that he's got a set calendar, even though men have changed the calendar.
Yes.
That once you get those 12 months 1 year, you can do it for the next 50, 60, 70 years.
Hallelujah.
You don't have to look at not one ear of barley after you don't even have to start it looking at the barley.
It may not come up.
All right? It says, in the spirit of maturing crops, we are to establish and observe this first month when the barley grain is green. We cannot establish Abib if the barley head is not developed or if the barley seed is dry, ripe, yellow, or ready to harvest. By then it would be too late. The barley must be green, and this occurs in a specific month. So you see how people get so focused on natural things.
Right.
Says, can I look at my locale? He says, no, seasons are opposite on either side of the equator. The only way to reconcile the discrepancy in growing seasons is to look at the barley that is grown in or around Israel. It was to people living in that area of the world that Yahweh gave the command to keep the Passover and feast during the green ear month of Abib. It is that area of the world that will give us the proper and accurate time of maturing barley when Yahweh commanded Israel to keep the first month. All right? So there are people that think you got to run over to Israel every year and look at the barley and see how green it is. All right? When Shemitic Israel came out of spiritual death, they saw people getting their telescopes and studying the moon.
Okay.
I've got an article about the phases of the moon. All right? And this is from the U.S. Naval Observatory, which is, they're spot on with their telescope looking at the moon. But guess what? Our forefathers didn't have any telescopes.
Praise Yahweh.
So what happened to them? What did they do?
What year? How did they?
The U.S. Naval Observatory Astronomical Applications Department. And you got the new moon, you got the first quarter, the full moon, the last quarter, and then you have the dates. And you can go to any date that you pick out, and they will show you the phases of the moon. As a matter of fact, they'll show you what the little crescent, and then they'll show half, and then they'll show the full moon. And there are people that get deep into that. And to get Yahweh's holy days every year, what they do is they start looking at the moon. Some of them wait until a couple of days before to tell the people when the holy day is, because they're looking to see exactly how the moon looks.
Okay, y'all right, tell like it is.
Yahweh is consistent. So once you have it 1 year, there's no point to look at the moon. There's no point to go over to Israel to look at the green ears harvest.
Tell like it is, bro.
All right, we're going to go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. So Shemitic Israel woke up from spiritual death. They saw people puzzling about floating weekly Shabbats, keeping the holy days a month ahead, a week ahead, a day ahead, a day behind. So did they throw their hands up in the air and say, okay, you know what, Yahweh's holy days can't be kept? There's some that did that. But Yahweh commanded
Yes, he did.
Shemitic Israel to keep his holy days. So what did they do? They went to the word of Yahweh, just like we're doing right here now.
Hallelujah.
And he revealed to them and to us
Yes.
that his sacred calendar contains 12 months exactly every year.
Okay.
And each month has 30 days.
Yes.
Let's go to Genesis 7. Let's start at verse 10. Now he did it when he put Noah on the ark.
Okay.
And he let us know exactly how many months are in a year and how many days are in a month. And Yahweh's going to show us in this study that when you look at all these different calendars, you're going to see their months have different days.
Yes, it does.
Their years have different amount of days.
Yeah.
And this one particular calendar even has 2 of 1 month.
Okay.
All right, Genesis 7, verse 10.
Hallelujah.
And a river went out of Eden to
Genesis
water.
7.
7?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, 7. We're going to
7.
look at Noah, in verse 10.
Okay. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth.
Verse 11.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened.
All right, so here Yahweh is letting us know when Noah and his family got on the ark. And he said, Noah was 600, but he said in the 2nd month,
Right,
17th day of the month.
Right.
That's when they were on the ark and when it started raining. All right, verse 12.
And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40
He
nights.
said, all right, and it started raining for 40 days and 40 nights.
Okay.
Then verse 13.
In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons, with them unto the ark.
14.
They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort.
All right, so we see this is when they went into the ark.
Yeah.
And it started raining, and Yahweh said they went the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's get down to verse 24.
And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
Yahweh gives us another. He's given us 2 figures so far. He said they went in on the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month. The rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Now in verse 24 he says the waters prevailed on the earth for 150 days.
Okay.
All right, that's another figure he's giving you. Go to Genesis chapter 8 and let's start at verse 3, because this is how Yahweh helped us determine and know that he has 12 exact months every year, and every month is 30 days.
Yes.
Genesis 8 and 3.
Okay, and the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated.
Now here's another figure. It says, at the end of 150 days, the waters were abated. So you see 724 said the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Now he's talking about them abating, which is something different, for 150 days. All right, verse 4.
And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat.
All right, now he's saying that the ark rested, and he gives you another time, 7th month, on the 17th day of the month. All right, see how Yahweh makes it so easy? In Genesis 7 and 11, he talked about the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month. He wants us to get it. The ark rested on Mount Ararat, and that's where it is today in Iysh. And they say that they can't go up there and dig it out and everything, but they can go anywhere else. They can go to, to the moon and to Mars and everywhere else they want to go, but they just don't want people to have proof positive.
Right.
Those that have to see it to believe it, well, they're in trouble anyway.
Right.
He always said you better believe it before you see
Right,
it.
right.
If he said it. But it's at the top of, it rested on the top of Mount Ararat on the 7th month, the 17th day of the month. All right, verse 5.
And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen.
Now he's saying you could see the top of the mountains in the 10th month on the first day of the month. All right, let's get down to verse 13. He's giving you all these dates and days.
Right, right.
All right, so you can understand about his calendar. 8 and 13, yes.
And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry.
Now he gave you another date. He
Right,
said, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. Then Noah took the covering off the ark. He saw the face of the ground was dry. All right, verse 14.
And in the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dry.
All right, 15.
And Elohim spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons, and thy sons' wives with thee.
Now, when you look at these figures, it said in the second month, on the 27th day, it says 7 and 20th of the month. But when you look at when they went in Genesis 7 and 10 and 11, they went in on the second month, the 17th day of the month. They came out on the same second month, but the 27th day of the month. So Yahweh let you know they were in the ark a year and 10 days. Simple. He just made it so simple. And when it's talking about 150 days, then you understand. You divide 30 into 150, you're talking about how many months these different things happen. I have this, let's go to 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. So I have this book that the Rock blessed the temple with years and years ago.
Hallelujah.
It's called The Annals of the World. And it's by this person, Bishop Usher. And it has some really interesting things in here about the calendar and how he studied the Bible. And he is the one where if in your Bible you go to Genesis in the beginning, that the first where it says in the beginning Elohim created the heaven and earth, then you see 4004 BC. He's the one that looked at the scripture and looked at secular history and lined it up to where he saw that the Roman calendar was off 46 years or 49 years, something like that. So this is the man that did this book, The Annals of the World. And whatever Bible you see where you have dates in there, they took the dates from him. He's the one that figured out those dates.
Praise Yahweh.
And Yahweh told him what the dates were.
Yes.
Now, in the Annals of the World, he's got in the introduction, he's saying, we find that the years of our forefathers, the years of the ancient Egyptians and Hebrews, well, we're Hebrews, were the same length as the Julian calendar. Well, really, it's vice versa. They copied off of Yahweh at first.
Right.
Then they're the ones that started changing things.
Right.
It consisted of 12 months containing 30 days each.
Hallelujah.
Now he says it cannot be proven that the Hebrews used lunar months before the Babylonian captivity. Well, so for those people that are saying that you have to get your telescope and go study the moon, so Yahweh said they would be for signs and seasons and things like that, but the whole thing is he was keeping time before the sun and the moon were even created. They weren't made until the 4th day.
Right.
So there's something here that Yahweh wants us to understand and see what he's doing. All right, 1 Thessalonians 5 Gonna read one verse. We read 2 Timothy 2:15, and that's why we're turning back and forth in the Bible, because
Yes.
Yahweh said for us to study.
Yeah.
And he didn't say to study to try to prove anything to anybody else
No.
but him.
Right.
Now we're going to 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, and let's read one verse, verse 21.
Hallelujah.
Prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
To prove all things,
Okay.
not some. And we were having discussions here at Temple, and there are different things that came up where, you know, people were talking about food, that they said, okay, well, this is in that food, or that's in that food, and then we were discussing some other things. And so what we were always telling him at the end of it is like, that's good. I would like to know that. I would like to search that out.
Right.
Bring me your research.
Right.
Because we don't just go by word of mouth.
Can't.
Yahweh said, prove all things.
Yes.
Then you hold fast when you know that it's the truth.
Hallelujah.
After you've done your research.
Praise Him.
So, and nobody should get upset with you
No, they should.
by saying, you know what, that's very interesting. I believe what you're saying is right. Give me your research so then I can go and Yahweh can show me.
Hallelujah.
Other than that, I'm not trying to rebel against you.
No, it's not.
But Yahweh didn't tell me to just be a he said, she said person. He just said right here, prove all things.
That's
This
right.
is what we're doing right now.
That's it.
Proving all things. Because he told us to keep his holy days. So then now we have to find out, hey, how do we do that?
Uh-huh.
I'll go to Psalms, the 83rd chapter.
Praise Yahweh.
So upon studying the Bible, Yahweh showed the very small remnant of Shemitic Israel that Esau had traded away his elder birthright
Okay.
to their forefather, Jacob,
Yeah.
that their father Isaac gave Esau secondary blessings of number 1, material prosperity,
Yeah.
number 2, eventual freedom from rule under the Shemitic Israel,
Okay.
and number 3, rule over the Shemitic Israel until the Messiah's second coming.
Okay. Y'all right, Rod. Tell
It
like
also
it is.
showed Shemitic Israel that when Esau's people got out from under Shemitic Israel's rulership, they went way past the blessings that their father Isaac gave them. And they stole
Yeah.
the Shemitic Israel's identity. Psalms 83.
Praise the mighty
They
Yah.
got blessed with some things,
Yeah.
but they got greedy,
Yeah.
and they lied, they cheated, and they stole.
Yes.
Psalms 83, start at verse 1.
Hallelujah.
Keep not thou silence, O Elohim, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O El.
2.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Verse 3.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
So here is a conspiracy that's going on.
Right.
And it says, Shamar not thy silence, O Elohim, hold not thy shalom, and be not still, O Elohim, for lo, Yahweh's enemies are making a commotion. They that sinay Yahweh have lifted up their head, come together to plot against Yahweh. They've taken crafty counsel against Shemitic Israel and consulted against his people who are undercover, and
Right.
the majority of them don't know who they are.
Right.
All right, what's the plot about? Verse 4.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Verse 5.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against Yahweh. They don't want Yahweh's plan to go forth, and they don't want spiritual Israel, Shemitic Israel, who disobeyed Yahweh, to wake up out of that sleep that he said that they're
Like it
in.
is, Rod.
They want to cut them off from being a Goian nation, that the name, the Shem of Yisrael, may be no more remembered.
Right.
Well, Yahweh wants that name to be remembered,
Hallelujah.
and he wants it to be remembered in the right way, doing the laws, statutes, and commandments, and the things that he said for them
That's
to be
it.
doing. Let's go to Revelation, the 3rd chapter. So 11 nations taken over by the Japhetic or Caucasians are participating in the Shemitic Israel stolen identity scam.
Tell like it
Revelation
is,
3.
Rod, for them
It's
to
11
know.
nations, but the ringleader is Esau's people. Revelation 3, verse 9.
Hallelujah.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
So we're talking about stolen identity.
Right.
It says Yahweh's going to make some people who are of the synagogue of Satan. They're saying they're Yadim, but they're not. They're lying. He said, they say they are, they're not. They're lying. He said, I'm going to make them to come and shaka before your feet, and to yada that I have a love thee. So now to escape detection of the scam, the ringleader, Esau's people, dropped their name Esau.
Okay.
The Greeks, Romans, and other Caucasians, pretending to be Arabs, Egyptians, and other Middle Eastern people, renamed Esau's people the Idumeans and the Temanites. Esau's people renamed themselves Israelis, Semites. They take the S, the H off of Shem.
Right.
They say Sem, Jews, and Jewish. The suffix ish on the end of Jew means like, somewhat, tending to, approximately, close to, but not the real McCoy.
Rod, tell it like
Let's
it
go to
is.
Deuteronomy 26. So insult Yahweh further. Esau's people stole Shemitic Israel's identity, but rejected and altered his spiritual laws, statutes, and commandments that he gave to Shemitic Israel as his peculiar people. So they stole their identity, but they rejected what Yahweh gave them
Right.
to identify them as his peculiar people. Deuteronomy 26, let's start at verse 16, please.
Hallelujah.
This day Yahweh thy Elohim hath commanded thee to do these statutes and judgments. Thou shalt therefore keep and do them with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
So here's a commandment. He's commanded to Shemitic Israel. Said, this Yom Yahweh Elohim has SABBATH thee to do these statutes and mishpat. Thou shalt therefore shema and do them with all thy ruach
Okay.
and with all thy nephesh.
Okay.
So he wanted these to be obeyed. Well, Esau's people stole the identity, but they rejected this. All right, verse 17.
Thou hast about Yahweh this day to be thy Elohim, and to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments, and to hearken unto his voice.
Okay.
All right, 18.
And Yahweh hath about thee this day to be his particular people, as he hath promised thee, and that thou shouldest keep all his commandments.
That's the only way we be his peculiar people.
Right.
Is keeping all Yahweh's commandments that we know. Yahweh has avouched. He stood up and said, I'm your Elohim, you are my people. But now, Shemitic Israel had a part to walk in Yahweh's ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, to listen to his voice. And Yahweh has confirmed and agreed that Israel, Shemitic Israel, was his peculiar people, that if they would keep all his mitzvah, all his commandments. All right, verse 19.
And to make thee high above all nations, which he hath made in praise and in name and in honor, and that thou mayest be an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim, as he has spoken.
All right, he said he did make Shemitic Israel on high for a while.
Yeah.
It says that he would make thee high above all go'i, which he had made in halal and in shem and in kabod, that thou mayest be a kadash am unto Yahweh the Elohim, and he is a mar. Esau's people that stole Shemitic Israel's identity, insulting Yahweh even more, they made up their own laws called halakha and commandments, mitzvot, named Judaism, the Talmud, the 613 laws, the Mishnah, and others. Let's go to Revelation 2:9. Tracy R. Rich in Judaism 101. What is Judaism?
I know, right?
At webmaster at JEWFAQ.org writes, clearly there is a religion called Judaism. A set of ideas about the world and the way we should live our lives is called Judaism.
Okay.
It is studied in religious study courses and taught to Jewish children in Hebrew schools. There is a lot of flexibility about certain aspects of those beliefs and a lot of disagreement about specifics. But that flexibility is built into the organized system of belief that is Judaism.
Okay.
However, many people who call themselves Jews do not believe in that religion at all. They may practice some of the rituals of Judaism.
Right.
And celebrate some of the holidays.
Yeah, son.
But they don't think of these actions as religious activities. The most traditional Jews and the most liberal Jews and everyone in between would agree that these secular people are still Jews regardless of their disbelief. Now this is Jewish people saying this. All right, these are Esau's people saying that. Another book, Books Ahoy Home, The End Predictions, Halakha, or Jewish law, writes, what does halakha or Jewish law consist of? Halakha or Jewish law is made up of mitzvot, commandments from the Torah, as well as laws instituted by rabbis and certain customs. The 613 mitzvot or commandments at the heart of halakha, Jewish law, is the unchangeable 613 commandments that Elohim gave to the Jewish people in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. This is not, the first 5 books of the Bible are in here, but Yahweh never said anything about 613 laws. This is something that Esau's people made up in Judaism. The mitzvah or commandment means commandment. In its strictest sense, it refers only to commandments instituted in the Torah. However, the word is commonly used in a more generic sense to include all of the laws, practices, and customs of halakha or Jewish law, and is often used in even more loose way to refer to any good deed. The most accepted list of the 613 mitzvot or commandments is Maimonides' list in his Mishneh Torah. Rambam is the Jewish man who made up a widely accepted list of Jewish beliefs. Rambam's 13 principles of faith, he thought, were the minimum requirements of Jewish belief. He is also credited with declaring the 613 laws of Jewish belief in Judaism. So you see, this is Esau. That's different from what Yahweh has in the Bible. In his own time, he was widely condemned because he claimed that the Mishnah Torah that he wrote was a substitute for studying the Talmud. That's another book that Esau's people wrote. So they got insulted because this Jewish man wrote this other book, and he was saying that should be looked at higher than the Talmud. He developed the 13 principles of faith, the most widely accepted list of Jewish beliefs. He also wrote the Guide for the Perplexed, a discussion of difficult theological concepts written from the perspective of an Aristotelian philosopher. So Aristotle, Plato, Romans. Right? All right, Revelation 2 and verse 9. So now Yahweh showed Shemitic Israel the Hebrew calendar Esau's people made was not to be trusted completely to start keeping his holy days. He showed them. Don't just look at that calendar and just go with what
Right.
they have in there.
Right.
Because they've got a lot of things that they patched up and doctored up.
Right, right.
Revelation 2 and verse 9.
I
Hallelujah.
know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
So he said, I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you're rich.
Right, right.
He said, and I yada the blasphemy. So
Yeah.
blasphemy is something against Yahweh. Blasphemy is something that is really
I
seriously
know, right?
evil and wicked. The blasphemy of them which say they are Yadim and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Let's go to Daniel, the 7th chapter. So since Esau's people have been intertwined with the Greek and Roman governments
Right, right.
before 70 AD, they joined in with the Roman tradition of altering Yahweh's sacred
Yup,
calendar.
Y'all right. Tell it like it is, so damn to know.
They did just like the Greeks
Yep.
and Romans.
Yep.
And
Verse.
altered Yahweh's sacred calendar. Daniel 7, let's start at verse 23.
Hallelujah.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all the kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces.
24.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue the three kings.
All right, so this is talking about the Roman Empire. And it's talking about the Vandals of Ibryi and the Ostrogoths, who are a barbaric tribe. They came up against them, and then it said the Roman Empire's deadly wound was healed, so they recovered from the barbarians, taking them over. It said, the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. All right, but this is the Roman Empire. Verse 25.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times.
All right, it says, he shall think to change. He's going to speak great debar against El Elyon, and shall wear out the Kadeshim of El Elyon. Well, they wore them out with the Colosseum and with the gladiatorial fights with the lions, tigers, and bears and everything else that they use as sport.
I'd like to count grace to repeat this after me. Hallelujah. I'm at the right place.
I'm at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
I'm at the right place.
I'm at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
I'm at the right place.
I'm at the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
Hallelujah.